Hi, PBL. It's Mrs. Dunlap again. I hope you're doing well. We're going to go over today's lesson in this video. I am recording it the night before. It's about 10:30 on the 25th. So if you hear my kids yelling in the background, they're still not asleep yet. So just forewarn you there. It might make you chuckle a little bit if you hear them. Anyway, so if you look at today's lesson, we're going to talk about creating your body paragraphs in your research paper. I had a chance to look over your thesis statement. I might snag one of yours as an example to use today, so bear with me. And then how to make that thesis statement transition into your body paragraphs and how to make those come together. So you'll notice in the Google Doc, I put a new link in for body paragraphs, and it's going to take you to this handout here. Now, I know it says argumentative writing, but it's still the SCC method when creating a body paragraph, and that's what I want you to focus on. Your paper is a little bit argumentative. It's definitely more informational and informative, but there's a sense of argumentation to it as well. So we're going to talk about the SCC, or some teachers call it ICE format, of setting up a quote, citing it, and explaining it, okay? Or setting up your idea and backing up your claim with your quote and your commentary on that, okay? So that is there for you. If you need extra help, I'll leave that up. And then, like I said, we're going to work on starting your first body paragraph, okay? All right, hopefully from yesterday or Wednesday, you have your references page done. So when you go to do your citations, all you have to do is look on your reference page and cite the first information that you see, which would be the author or author's last name. And we'll talk about in-text citations tomorrow. And a little bit, or not tomorrow, sorry, Friday and into next week. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is pull up your outline, your sample paper that I gave you, or your template, I should say, that you're writing your paper in. And if you look on the first page here, you'll see that in APA format, you have a title page. So obviously this is just a sample title, so you can change it to sleep deprivation in teens, perfectionism in teens, teenagers and motivation, whatever your topic is. And then up here, do not delete the words running head. Okay, you need that in APA. I don't know why, but you need that. And then your title needs to be in all caps as well. So you need to copy it just like I have it here. Then you put it in regular case here. You put your name all fancy with your middle initial and then the institution. Okay, that's your cover page. We'll talk about an abstract later. This is going to be extra credit, but in every APA paper, there's an abstract. And if you don't know what an abstract is, it is just basically a summary of your paper. And when you read your peer-reviewed research from JSTOR and InfoHio, before you read every article, there's a little abstract summarizing the key points of the article. And in APA, you do that for what you write as well. So you would write a little 6 to 7 sentence summary about your sources, about your main ideas, and then you would use your keywords as well, listed here. You might say behavioral health, sleep, teens, whatever it is, whatever your 3 to 5 keywords are. And I'll go more into that later, but today we are talking about your first introductory paragraph, which in the lesson plans, I talked about skipping over the introductory and conclusion, because usually you save those for last after you've really gotten a good idea of how the flow of your paper is going to be with your 3+ body paragraphs with your main ideas. So it's actually easier to write your bodies first and then finish up with your intro, and conclusion. All right. So also you would put your title here again as well on your first page of your paper. So I'm going to jump over to our thesis document, and I'm going to pick one of your thesis statements to use here as an example. Okay, so when you guys get a second, in your template, make sure you copy your thesis statement into letter C here, where it said thesis statement goes here. And I decided to use Braden's because I like how it flows. I think it has three claims in there, or three ideas that can stem into a paper. So we're going to use his as an example here. So his says social anxiety is a crippling and increasingly common social disorder that stems from A, B, and C. All right. So if I were Braden, I would look at my body paragraph here, and where it says here 6 to 8 sentences for each body paragraph. That is true if you want to make that 3-page minimum length. Okay. And even though he has 3 points here, he might need another paragraph or so to make the length. Now, look at what I said here for letter A. Okay. Before you get into your 3+ major claims or ideas you want to discuss, you could include some general background information about your topic. If you're worried about making the 3 pages, instead of going into your first idea from your thesis statement, and for Braden, it would be social environments, he could give me a paragraph or two just about social anxiety. How is it a crippling, increasingly common social disorder? He could give me an informative paragraph here about what it is, how we diagnose for it, how common is it, and then go into his 3 main ideas there. Something to think about, okay? However, if he was not going to do that, he would start with social environments, okay? As a social disorder that stems from social environments. So what he's going to do here is he's going to follow the SCC method. So he's going to set up his quote with a topic sentence, okay? And he could say something like, here, I'll type it for you here. Social anxiety stems from social environments. Okay, see how I just took that idea from the thesis statement and made my topic sentence there? Let's pause there a moment and look at kind of a visual on how our paragraph should look, okay? So this is a PowerPoint that I have, and when we're writing our body paragraphs, we want to look at a couple things that it should include. A topic sentence that I just showed you that I wrote for Braden, and that should be near the beginning of the paragraph. Evidence, data and facts to support your topic sentence. An explanation that links the facts and the data to your claim or your idea. Okay, so here you're starting to see this SCC method embedded in here. Okay, and then at the end, you want a transition into the next idea. Okay, or sometimes you just leave your explanation alone and your transition comes at the beginning of the next paragraph. As long as you have a transition either at the end of that paragraph or the beginning of the next one, you are good. And then obviously you can't just put a quote without citing it, so you need citations in your paragraph, okay? Let's get out of that. I'm going to pull this back up. Something I want to talk to you about with citations, you might have a whole paragraph of information that you paraphrased or summarized and from a source or a couple sources, and you don't really have a direct quote. All you do is at the end of that paragraph, put the citation right here, okay? And it's telling me that you summarized or paraphrased all this information and it's coming from that source. You do not have to have, I repeat, you do not have to have a direct quote in every paragraph. You can have maybe that first paragraph that's just introducing the general background information is a big summary and you just want to cite where you got that information from, if it comes from one source, go ahead and do that, okay? However, if you're working on 6 to 8 sentences per paragraph, you probably should have at least 1 or 2 direct quotes to back up what you're saying, okay? All right, so we've got our topic sentence here, okay? Right here is your first S of that SCC method, setup. So general summary goes here to introduce the first piece of evidence supporting your idea, okay? So he says social anxiety stems from social environments. Well, he's going to tell me a little bit about that. What are the social environments? What does this actually mean? And then look how easy I made this for you. You're going to go right into citing where he got this idea from, a direct quote or paraphrase or whatever it is to back up his topic sentence here. And look how I set it up for you. I set it up just how you should if you were doing this in college or introducing a quote. This is a great formal way to do that. Okay, so let's say the source that he's pulling from is from Joe Schmo, and the article title is Social Anxiety. So he would say, according to Joe Schmo in his article, Social Anxiety, he states, and then this, see right here, this is the quote, okay? And, oops, I should have changed this. We should do this. Okay, I'll make a note in Classroom for you. But in APA, we cite the author's last name, so Schmo, comma, the year the article was published. Okay, so according to author's first and last name, according to Joe Schmo in his article, it's late, Social Anxiety, he states, and then you'd say the quote, and then it would be Schmo, 2009. Now, I'm doing this for practice for you, but because you are saying the author's first and last name here, you actually really don't even need the citation right here, okay? So you can actually leave it out. If you want to do both, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to panic over it. This is all good practice for you. But if you don't set it up this way, you're definitely going to have to do this, okay? And then that's the citation of the SCC up here. Then the last C, SCC, stands for commentary or explanation, okay? You don't ever just drop a quote and then not explain it. So you want to go into Schmo says this and it ties into this, and yes, it is true that social anxiety, blah, blah, blah. One example would be, whatever it is that you're explaining your quote, furthering it with your own words is what you're going to do here. And you should have probably 2 to 3 sentences on that, okay? So 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, and then you get your 6 to 8 sentences for each letter here. Or yeah, A, B, or C. Now, if your paragraph's tiny and you need to further this idea, this first example or first claim from your thesis, you can go into another example of how social environments shape social anxiety is. Author blah, blah, blah says, okay? So if you need another quote to back up what you're saying from another source, you just do it here, okay? And then obviously you would have your transition leading into your next idea. So I could say something like, going back to his thesis up here, another way social anxiety, or something about like, how could we say this? Perceptions. Another issue dealing with social anxiety is perceptions, or how people perceive this diagnosis or if disorder. I'm not sure if it's a disorder or not. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure it is. So you would say another blah, blah, blah is da, 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 okay? And you would transition by kind of hinting at what is coming next. If you don't want to, if you want to just leave your idea alone here, make sure your transition comes right here at the beginning of that next paragraph, okay? All right, so that is pretty much it in a nutshell for your first body paragraph. Again, just to repeat, if you want your first paragraph to be some general background on your topic, by all means do it. If you're ready to jump into that first point from your thesis statement, you can do that as well. You can always go back and add that general body paragraph about your topic if you're worried about making 3 pages, okay? And then again, when you cite from your sources, just go to your reference page. And let's say you were citing from this Bernstein, you would do Bernstein, comma, 2002 in your citation. Bent, comma, H, or Bent, comma, 1959, okay? I wish I had one with multiple authors so I could show you that, but we'll get to that, okay? I'll show you some examples of in-text citations at another time, all right? So honestly, folks, if I get into your documents, I should be seeing your paper coming along and you writing your paragraph. So make sure you do that, okay? If you're struggling or need anything at all, please reach out to me. I would be more than happy to do a Google chat with you so we can see each other or talk to each other that way. I am here to help in any way. Okay, folks, have a great day and good luck with your first body paragraph.